This account can count all the way up to 11. Hello everyone, Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends. We are here on the free to Paws account. We are 11 months into this account's existence, not quite to the day, but it seemed like a good time to kind of check in with it just a little bit, because I've actually made some serious progress on this account, and it has certainly just transformed from the past month or so. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff I am doing to future-proof this. We have the new Grim Forest content that should be coming soon, so some of the things I am doing to help prepare this account to succeed in that content, as well as just, overall be a better account. So let's talk about some of the progress we have made in building champions on this account. So 11 months in, I've got 63 6-star champions on this account, which means that, I've been averaging probably about 1 6-star every week and then a little bit more. So it's about 1.25 to 1.5. I haven't done the exact math yet, but we're talking, 52 weeks in a full year. So we're closer to 48 weeks. Yeah, that tracks about right with 63, 64. So 1.5 per week. Now, it's not always been 1.5 per week. For example, there have been a few weeks where there have not been a lot of 6 stars that have been generated. Meanwhile, very, very early on, 6-starring champions was one of the best ways to make huge amounts of progress, because 6-starring a champion makes some huge progress in general because you get some better stats. Now, not every champion here is fully built. Some of these champions have some gear or are still working on them. For example, I'm actually impressed that my Hotatsu is still level 59, not level 60. He's been done for a while. I just haven't really needed to get that last one level on him. When I run him in Shadowkin, eventually he'll get it, but it's just not something that's actually happened. Meanwhile, in some cases, they don't even have full masteries, because like in his case, there weren't 2 other masteries that I was desperate to get for him. Now there's masteries I think would be good for him, so I could get at least 1 more of these, and now I can get some good value out of it. But it's not like he has been a huge priority, because honestly, for the most part, he works well enough in the build that I've got him in, with this particular gear, with the Orb of Transfixion, and, with the blessing that actually does pretty good. To be fair, he's got a 6-star blessing, which makes building him a lot easier. But a lot of these champions are mostly built or fully built. In a couple of cases, I've actually kind of retired some of them. So like some of these epics, I'm not using as much as I used to anymore. That's just the nature of an account, is as you move into the end game and as you continue to get better and better champions, some of your older champions that used to be cornerstones of your account will slowly but surely fade into the background. But having a good roster of champions to choose from is part of what makes an account playable. It makes them endgame viable. It allows you to do things like Curse City, and it's going to be functional in the Grim Forest, where I am going to be looking to have, for hard mode, I'm going to be looking for, 40 champions that I'm going to need to pick from to be in my deck of roster of whatever else it's going to be. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing to that is I need to double check and make sure that I have a good number of support champions and a good number of damage dealing champions. So I have a bit of a balance so that I can actually kind of decide what I'm going to do with who I'm going to pick, because I'm not guaranteed to get my absolute best supports. So I can't lean on just having 1 or 2 supports built. I need to have a good collection of supports built, because they are going to make the difference between whether or not I can pass some content or not. One of the biggest places where it is determining which champions I am building has been faction wars. I'm in hard faction wars here now, just to show you I've got some stars on some of these things. My undead have been doing particularly good. My sacred order have been doing good. My dwarves are kicking some serious butt. And on other cases, I've barely been able to get the first floor, a couple of them, or just a few floors here or there. Or some cases I haven't been able to get a single star because I just don't have the champions in that particular faction. So what I've been doing is I've been taking a look at the factions I've been struggling in, looking at what I am missing in a couple of them, and building some of that out. So Lizardmen, for example, I need a damage dealer. Well, Rosin's the only damage dealer I really have on this account. So I'm slowly but surely building up a Rosin, and I'm not necessarily going to have to invest heavily into him. I don't even need to necessarily book him for him to be effective as an okay damage dealer to help speed up Lizardmen. But he does need to have gear on him, and he does probably need to have ultimately be 6-starred to be able to get those extra defense multipliers dealt with. High Owls, for example, is another one where I'm lacking on damage. So recently I have built up a Royal Guard, and then on top of that, I do have a Siendra Light Ward who's been decent with damage. She might become a 6-star just to get extra damage out of her as well. And those two champions combined, along with some really, really good support in my High Elves teams, because basically Arbiter carries a lot of support there in the High Elves, and I've got Skaramis, who gives me a lot of control and protection as well. And those two champions are going to cornerstone, along with some damage, a good High Elf Crypt team that can do content faster, which is definitely a time constraint. Faction Wars is a time constraint thing for me sometimes. Sometimes I don't have a lot of time to play, so having some of these that run faster is definitely going to be helpful. But being able to do damage and being able to support everybody else means that I'll be able to continue to move further on in that content. And that's actually one of the things that Knights Revs I certainly need to look at, is I've got a Rector Drath, and Rector Drath is doing a lot of work, but maybe I need to build my Dawncaller up a little bit better as well, probably get her to 6-stars, and I need to get my Thylesia up, who brings a little bit of damage, but being able to 6-star her is going to make her significantly faster and is going to give her better stats and better survivability, which is going to make her much more useful in endgame content. And the line between support and damage dealers is often kind of fine. For example, I've got Eurogrim and I have a Stock the Broken. I got them both around the same time. I got Eurogrim a little bit before I got Stock the Broken, but they're both very good champions. They are both capable damage dealers because they can bring a bunch of poisons in certain situations. And in fact, they combine together very well because there's a bunch of poisons then. So I use both of them to get a ton of poisons up. They give me both a speed lead as well. And then Stock can ignite those poisons for mega damage, which would be great. But they also provide some good support because you get a bunch of continuous heals from the two of them, which is another reason they actually go together very well. You get a cleanse from one of them, you get continuous heal activation from the other one, and then you get some debuff duration increase from Stock the Broken as well with that A1. And of course, you get some extra poisons from Eurogrim on that A1 as well. So it is good to have champions like that on your roster. So I'm certainly excited to build those two champions out, and those of course were my next 6-stars. And to be fair, Stock the Broken is not fully booked. He's not even near fully booked. I really would like to get a couple of books into this particular skill, at least to get to this level 5 to make this a 4-turn cooldown with 100% chance to land poisons. But until then, it's, he's still a very usable champion, particularly because I can pair him with some other stuff as well. I'm not going to always drop the max HP with this stuff here, but he will be effective and useful on my account. Meanwhile, I've got Deanna Gloompiercer, which I can certainly shout out. A couple people commented that she's a solid damage dealer, and she is, and I was missing damage in Sylvan Watchers. She's also going to give me the ally attack as well, which is definitely nice. Now, I don't know who she's going to replace on my Faction Wars team, but she's certainly going to replace somebody because she's got a chunky AoE here that does some decent damage. And then she's got, of course, the ally attack, which is great to bring some extra damage in general. So we'll get somebody in that faction that'll probably drop out. Maybe it's my Bowsmith Flannan finally gets out of my faction because she brings some similar stuff to it. Or maybe it's somebody else because Bowsmith still does some okay damage, brings some interesting control. And again, another ally attacker there as well. Doesn't necessarily hurt to have on the roster. But it's nice to have the choice, particularly for hard faction wars where the floors may actually dictate some of the ways you may actually need to play and some of the champions you may need to bring. You're going to need more than just 5 built champions for every faction wars in hard. Meanwhile, Cursed City is one of the other places where I'm figuring out where I may want to build additional champions. In some cases, there's champions that I can certainly use in some areas, like I probably need to build my Kyoku specifically for this floor because she's the only champion I really have that does burns or block revive, because I don't have a block revive champion here either, that can actually possibly down this spider. So at some point in time, I'm going to need to build her and try to run the burns through here. It's not a high priority because this is a single floor, but she would be a good expansion to my roster because she brings some good unique tanking abilities that might be very, very helpful in some other content as well, not just on this particular floor. So identifying champions like that can be very helpful in finding more ways to build new champions and which ones you may want to invest in. On the other hand here, This team has been very, very close to downing this particular Iron Twins, and it might literally be a case where I may need to take Lady Areth and 6-star her to make sure that she is a little bit tankier than she otherwise is and get her a little bit faster as well, so that she can make sure that everyone stays just a little more healed than they have been, get some of those reset cooldown. And, she's a champion that I've always thought was just, kind of okay. But actually using her in this, she's been fairly powerful and very helpful even as a 5-star, because with abilities such as the decreasing cooldown on all things on a hopefully eventually a 3-turn cooldown, this only takes 2 books to get to that 3-turn cooldown, as well as this is actually a pretty chunky turn meter if you get the ally fully healed. So this was actually really good to spur on my damage dealer to keep doing damage in this particular fight, but it also could be good to get up things like block damage or extra shields to make sure I can survive some of the attacks that this thing can deal. She also has a critical heal, and it's a very chunky heal here as well, and as well as a cleanse, which can be very helpful. So she could be very good for hard faction wars, moving into hard faction wars to give me some good healing and control, and maybe I don't need a reviver if she can keep my team alive with both this extra strengthen and continuous heal, as well as, of course, the extra healing here, block damage, cleanse, turn meter fill, and of course the cooldown decrease here as well. So, finding uses for champions like this is a great way to expand your account's reach. One of the things I have been pushing is the Marius and the Ramantu missions. So right now I'm looking to actually get into Silver 4 and probably stay in Silver 4 tag team. Traditionally on this account, I've been bouncing between Silver 2 and 3, and I've been dropping down to Silver 2 on weeks where it is Siege and moving up to Silver 3 during CVC weeks. My hope is to move up to Silver 4 and then bounce back and forth between Silver 3 and Silver 4 for a little while, and eventually then possibly move into Gold Tag Arena. Now I know getting into Gold Tag Arena is painful, so I don't necessarily expect to be able to do that right away, but I have focused on building arena champions on this account because Arena is a great way to level up your account, both with the stuff you get from Live Arena and of course Classic Arena, building up your Great Hall. And speaking of Great Hall, I've been making some pretty good strides there. As you can see, I have a couple of these are at 6 stars or level 6 or whatever you want to call it here. Got a couple, one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these are at level 6. Maybe that's not 6 of them. I don't know. A couple of the rest of them are at 5s. Then I can start putting these resistances all the way up to level 6. And once I'm done with that, then I will start maxing out probably the rest of crit damage and some of these accuracy ones. I might decide to do a resistance 1 or 2 on champions that I know need some high resistance. So I might, for example, do some magic resistance because I would really like my Donatello to have better resistance, as well as some void resistance, which would be helpful for certain champions that I know need resistance in the void strainers, in the void sphere as well. But overall, I have been focused on building for champions that I know I need to use that have been doing good work on my account. So I've been working on things like defense for champions that I know are defense champions, so they're going to do more damage, and then it's going to keep some of the other support champions alive or HP before I go with attack in most cases. Now, I just happen to have gone attack for the magic one here because I'm still using my Alice to nuke. And because she is doing damage in a lot of other key areas of my account, I need Alice to be a very good champion as well. So getting that extra 2% attack there, just another way to keep the account moving forward. Meanwhile, in the area bonuses, Faction Wars, I have gotten a lot of work done here on this stuff. We are closing in on being able to finish the HP attack and defense. We're closing in on accuracy. I do need to do a little more resistance, but again, I haven't had a lot of resistance builds, so resistance has been a little lower on the totem pole, but it's one of these things that I have less resistance builds because I have less resistance, and I need to move on one of those 2 fronts before resistance is going to become easier on this account. So I do need to move that up in Faction Wars. Fire Knight, I've been, making some progress here, but honestly, I'm doing Fire Knight 5 or Fire Knight 6 pretty consistently right now with this account, and I'm probably going to need another ally attack champion before I can really move much further in Fire Knight than where I am right now, and that's fine. As long as I know where my limit is with Fire Knight, I shouldn't have any problem moving forward. Hydra is one of the things I've getting closer and closer to maxing out. Building the resistance up can be very helpful, as you can definitely have some resistance builds for a single champion here in the Hydra for the Mischief tank, and getting general resistance on everyone never hurts. So get more resistance here from this one, get some extra HP in defense and attack. We're almost done with ignore defense and crit damage, and that is of course making a huge difference in the fact that I can actually double 1-key Nightmare Clan Boss. So I can do a double the normal 1-key on Nightmare Clan Boss. I can 1-key Brutal, and I can 1-key Hard as well. So I have 3 teams that are contributing towards Hydra, and I am getting the top max chests in Hydra now on full auto. That doesn't mean I don't want to continue to improve my Hydra teams, because I'd like to contribute more towards Hydra Clash for my clan without using my Titus that I have. But, you know, again, I don't have a Wixwell, so building a Titus team would be very, very difficult. But we can continue to improve the account, get better Hydra keys, and that's going to be overall a major shift and power up for the account. And then finally, Cursed City is a great place to focus some of these as well. Honestly, the 3 best places to focus your area bonuses for Live Arena is Cursed City, Hydra, and Faction Wars. Faction Wars is ultra cheap, and it's something you are going to be farming regularly and continually, so those extra stats do not go to waste. Particularly, they make normal mode super easy, and they make hard mode much more attainable. So keep in mind, you really do want to do a little bit of Live Arena to start maxing out those area bonuses. Meanwhile, one of the things I have been focused on is I want to start doing fusions, and I want to keep on doing fusions. One of the goals of this account is to try to start doing every fusion I possibly can. So as you see, I've been saving up some Sacred Shards. I've been saving up some Void Shards and Ancient Shards as well. So I did not pull everything during the last 2X, and Clan Boss has been okay for me. I've gotten a Sacred Shard here. I've gotten some legendary books from the Clan Boss. That's been very helpful. I don't know what's going to be the next shard opening event. I don't know when we're going to get another fusion, other than I would expect to have a fusion announced sometime this week, and that either starts either at the end of this week or starts sometime next week. We will certainly see. So we're going to need these Sacreds, we're going to need these Voids, we're going to need these Ancients soon enough. And meanwhile, I have stored up a couple things. I've got Kraz here, I've got Yannicka here, I've got Ryan is done. I am really, really close to getting Thea the Tomb Angel here. Once we get a reset in Doom Tower, that shouldn't be a problem at all to finish her if I need to. We are saving up for Cleopteryx, but that's honestly 2 months away, just the way that you get those fragments. And yeah, we're working on Dark Kale at some point in time as well. So I've got a bunch of these fragments available. I have a Remnant Summon here, and in fact, I'm working towards my second Remnant Summon. Those are certainly going to be champion chase points for a fusion of some kind as well. So looking forward to some of these things, and looking forward to continuing to make content on this account for quite a while to come. So there we go, guys. That is day 332 on this account. So yeah, we're closing in on the 1-year mark for this account. Sometime in January will be the 1-year anniversary of this particular account. So it'll be certainly fun to check in at that. So basically I should have Cleopteryx when that, well, I want a Cleopteryx. I will finish this particular climb for Cleopteryx here. So we'll have a few more fragments, and then we'll be a couple days into that as well, where we can do a 1-year review of how far this account has come. Now, one of the things that I'm sure people would want to ask is what's going to happen with the Hell Hades free-to-play challenge, and I don't know, other than I suspect it's going to happen. I don't know if I'll be able to participate, because between doing the full-time YouTube stuff that I'm doing for you guys and a full-time job I'm doing otherwise, I only have so much time, and it does take an awful lot of time to do the free-to-play challenge. And honestly, I've already proved that I can do the free-to-play challenge. I came in second last time. I came in a very, very distant second from anybody behind me. I made it interesting for Bone, and honestly, I think for me to have done better, I would have had to ultimately destroy the account and just do it as a ultra competitive thing where I'm feeding my champions and eating them as we go and getting content past done, scoring points, and then just being done with it. And that's not the way I like to play Raid Shadow Legends. I like making constant progress, and I like building a basis for an account that if I were to leave this account to somebody else can pick this account and run with it as well, and won't feel like I have sacrificed anything to make them not have a great time playing Raid Shadow Legends. I think that's where the fun is, and hopefully you guys find that fun too. But you know what? Play the way you want to. Keep on having some fun playing Raid Shadow Legends. Thank you, Raid, for sponsoring this video, and you guys are absolutely amazing. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Keep on being one of the best communities in Raid and in gaming, And until the next video, I am Bront CatHerder.